Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, so we did not hold the 9 EMA yesterday. We gapped down today and we came down, tagged the 21 EMA here on SPY and QQQ, DIA, and IWM. Let's talk about what we have next. Okay, this one is going to be a short one. We're going to cover the indices. I'm going to talk about a few of the Mag 7 stocks. I have a few trade ideas at the end of the video just for you. All right, guys, but yeah, we came down to the 21 EMA, guys. We have PC coming in hot tomorrow. It's not coming hot, it's coming in tomorrow. We'll see if it's hot, tame, or cool. Either way, it's our next little inflation measure here, and the market is probably going to react to that data. With how we close out today, I am just going to say probabilities. I'm just going off the charts here. They're suggesting we're going to be getting either a gap up or we're going to open relatively flat here. Probably going to get a bounce going tomorrow. Continue the bounce we got going today. I am not sure what comes after that. We're going to have to wait and see if we head back back up to highs, or if we get what I'm thinking. All right, I'm going to go over why in today's video. Why I think next week we probably are going to have another red week here. Specifically, IWM is really speaking to me on that one. IWM DIA, as well as SPY over here. Okay, on the downside, you have 656.90, 654.30. Break underneath the 21 EMA. We held it today, but if you weren't to have held that, next stop is 649.48, where you broke out from. Okay, on the upside, we have 660.27, 661.98. All right, and then we have this golden pocket here, 662.5, and then 664.61. If we get above 664.61, we're probably going to take out this high in the short term. I would still just say, all right, heat on the cautious side of things. If you are, looking to, hey, if you're swinging longs on this dip over here, I'm just telling you, if you get this bounce, I think it's worth taking some off and just literally waiting to see if you do take out 664.61. And because of that case, you probably just head back up the highs and we go 670. All right. But yeah, just come over a weekly time frame, guys. If they close you out with a doji candlestick / where you are right here, guys, let's say we gap up tomorrow and fade, close you out similar to this. Yeah, it reminds me of these guys over here. We're floating in the air. We're away from the 9 EMA for multiple weeks. We're away from the 5 EMA 2 weeks in a row. We just came down and tested that today. But we're kind of sitting there just floating in the sky. Wouldn't it just make a lot more sense to come back down to the 9 EMA? It would to me, all right? But price action looks pretty similar to these 2 weeks right here and these 2 weeks right here. And what followed the next week, you had to move down to the 9 EMA. Do not be surprised if we get that weekly mean reversion, okay? We talked about what you're going to be looking for. You had the 4-hour 21 EMA. That brought your first bounce over here. Guess what? You faded that, okay? You got just a dead cat bounce. There you go. You faded that. Where's that next stop? The daily 9 EMA. If that was not going to hold, guess what the next stop is? The daily 21 EMA. If that doesn't hold, you have the break and retest. Guys, if you don't know how to put these levels, these reaction areas on your charts, just steal my stuff. Okay, I make a video here 5 days a week. You can steal the levels. You can steal all the stuff we got, all these squiggly lines on our charts. There you go. Okay, if you don't know how to, draw these things on your charts to get these reactions, just take them. You're going to need good reactions to, track price action. I'm just telling you guys, yeah, until proven otherwise, this thing, it's just going to be a dead cat bounce over here. We'll see what happens. All right. I'm just going to actually come over to IWM before we go over QQQ. I'm just going to point to the weekly time frame. Guys, we rejected 2 weeks in a row here, all-time highs. I do think this is going to break out in a massive way here, but wouldn't it make more sense to continue this pullback and test the 9 EMA next week, just like we just went over there in SPY? It would. We swept the high 2 weeks in a row here. It would make sense to come back in, all right, regather your thoughts here, and then bang, all right, you attack this group of sellers sitting up here, okay? Buyers are gonna regroup, okay, and then they go up with force. It makes more sense to me, okay? But again, bounced off the daily 21 EMA, which makes me think they're not going to just give you a fat gap down tomorrow, guys. Normally, that's not the action we're going to see. If you are holding this spot, you normally get a, at least a little dead cat bounce going off of there and build out some structure before going lower. Okay. Coming over here to QQQ. bounced in the golden pocket from this most recent move up. 21 EMA held there just like SPY. He didn't exactly test it today, but he got pretty close there. And, you know, I'm just going to say, guys, we had buyers step in around there 2 times in a row today. There's demand down there. That's why I'm saying I don't think they're just going to bring you down right away. I think they're going to work on this area a little bit into next week. And then we, you know, maybe open up over here and then take out this week's low next week. And that produces our move down to those weekly 9 EMAs / where we broke out from. And yeah, IWM's 9 EMA over there. All right, on the upside for QQQ, you have 595.85, and then you have the 0.618 fib from this most recent move down at 597.45. And then again, just like SPY, you have that level you're going to be paying attention to. It's actually yesterday's high, 599.90. That's where the 0.786 fib is. If you get above there, the Fibonacci retracement, get above there, you're probably going to get 100% retracement. You go back to 602.87, and then 605 probably comes in the short term. Maybe we get 610. All right, but that's on the upside. On the downside, I'm just going to say watch the 21 EMA over here. If you do not hold that, guys, you're coming down here to 583.32. So underneath 587.86, okay, if you're not going to hold that area there, you're probably going to revisit where you broke out from at 583.32. All right, coming over to VIX, guys. What happened? We have a whole bunch of selling going on over here. We got upper wicks. I know, it's not normal price action, you know, our price movement over here. It's not normal buying and selling that moves VIX. Okay, but you know, I'm just saying, guys, if we get a larger VIX spike, it's really going to happen when you get above this area. Like, you know, we're dancing around this area. We rejected the 21 EMA today. All right. We rejected yesterday. We rejected the day before. I don't know if they're going to pop it above. I really don't. But I feel like they're not going to do that this week. And they're going to save something for next week over here on VIX, the next little spike. It's just my opinion, but moving on. Okay. Now I'm just going to talk about a few of these Mag 7 stocks, guys. We're actually going to start off with Apple. It was the only one showing the strength today as the markets were falling off a cliff / just pulling back to those, again, 21 EMAs there. Apple was holding completely flat. All right. It had this little 15-minute opening range. All right. On this candle right here. I was personally waiting for a breakout. We ended up taking it on the breakout over here. Nice little move up. All right. Nice move up. But I'm telling you guys right now, I think all-time highs is incoming for Apple over here. That I do. I think it's probably coming tomorrow, or we end up seeing that early next week. Now, I can't tell you if you're going to reject there. I can't, but I do think we're going to test 260.10. Either way, congratulations if you're making money. We talked about this one in yesterday's video. It's just holding up, you know, so well right over here. Wouldn't be surprised if it moves back up after that. And guess what? You did end up getting a nice little move over there. And guys, 10-3 calls. Next week's expiration, guys, went 100% over here. It was 90% and within an hour. Beautiful freaking move. And you think that's it? I think you're going to get another move. You might put in consolidation in this area here, but with how they just closed the daily candle with the catalyst tomorrow and the fact that I'm pretty sure they're going to, you know, give you a little gap up overnight. We'll see about it. We'll see about it at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We'll see. All right. But if that happens, this one was just one showing strength today. It clearly does want to push over here. You took out yesterday's high and you're banging on 257.34's door. Probably going to take it out. Okay. So that's Apple. Coming over here to Microsoft, guys. I'm just going to point out this is the first second off of open, 9:30:01 today. 10:31, 510 put. All right. Sold for 16 mil. You got put selling going on right over here for end of October. That's end of next month, guys. I'm thinking this thing is probably going to be moving up. All right. We're sitting right over here. Let's take that off. We're sitting right over here. All right. On the 9 EMA. If you come down and take out the low, you're testing 21. I don't think they're going to bring you back down there. I really don't. Because if you do, you're probably going to break here. I don't know if they're just going to sweep it, test here, minor low compared to over here, and then push it back up. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. All right, but I'm going to be watching this one for upside over the coming, few weeks here / the coming sessions. Above 511.97, we have 519.30, guys, and above 520, I think they take this 530 plus. That's all I got for you today on the Mag 7 stocks. Tesla, guys, we all know not to be trading this thing for the time being. I know it looks all pretty. I know. All right, some of these days it looks like it's going to rocket, but I've talked about it the last few sessions, and premiums are just jacked to the tits over here. And I'm going to be honest, there are much better opportunities out there. You know, there just are. There's a lot, you know, there's a lot cleaner moves that can, you know, be traded here. And the premiums along those clean moves will also be, you know, moving much better than over here on Tesla. I just don't recommend trading it right now. I just wouldn't. And even if you miss out on the move up there, I don't think it's the worst case. It's not the worst thing in the world. Okay. It's really not. But yeah, I will point out 1121 500C guys, they loaded up over $7 million on these today. There were 2 mil sold on them, but you know, $7 million loaded up on these today. There is a ton, you know, a ton more calls were loaded up as well. And then I think we have it down here. I just thought this was funny over here, guys. 2027 960C sold over here. All right. For about $2 million. Look at the premium they're paying for these things. 960 strike. Someone's getting they're collecting $3,000 a pop. That's crazy. You know, I think these are going to appreciate in value over here. I think the guy's probably going to be wrong at the end of the day. I think we're going to take out all-time highs, and I don't really know why you would do this. But, all right, I just want to point out $3,000 for the 960 strike. Okay, going up like 130% on stock price over here. That's kind of crazy to me. All right. But yeah, I just thought I'd point this out, guys. You know, Tesla's pulling back to the 90 May. I'm just pointing out they're still on those 1121 calls, and I think they're going to continue doing so because I think we're doing what I told you guys somewhere over here, you know, in the first few sessions of this crappy price action we got. I think it was on that second red day right there. You know, I point out we probably are going to go sideways for the next, you know, 2 to 3 weeks, build out a range, and then push up after that, guys. You don't really know, but at the end of the day, you're not really missing out on all too much. Let premiums come back to earth. Okay. So this is a Mag 7 stocks we're going to talk about today. All right. NVIDIA also didn't get too bad of a close today. Not looking all too shabby. Just thought I'd point that one out. All right. Maybe we do end up getting a pump tomorrow. NVIDIA pumps back up to highs. And this weekly candle doesn't look all too bad. We'll see about it. We will see. All right. Now, I got some trade ideas for you. Some things that are moving, some things that are grooving. We pointed out open, guys, off of the 21 EMA over here. All right. Who knows? Who knows if it's going to push back up to highs right away? I honestly don't think it's going to break through 1055 right away. I personally think it's going to push the upper, you know, bound of this range here because false breakdown here. All right. You got back into it, acceptance back into it, got the daily close above there. Target, top of the range. Do I think they break you out right away? No, I don't. I think they might actually do some crap like this. All right, so just be aware that that might be the case. But if you were, you know, buying over here with me, then guess what? You're going to be having a good time either way. If you get up there, you're going to have a little cushion. You're going to consolidate a little bit, and you're probably going to be pushing probably next week. We'll see about it, but that's open, okay? Oracle over here, I'm just going to point out, guys, they're selling a bunch of 10.3, 300, and 290 puts over here. Current price is now it's 295 in the after hours, okay? But, you know, close that just about 291 today. You pulled right back into the 21 EMA, guys. People want to chase this name. Guess what? Now it's cooled off. Now it's pulling back to the 21 EMA, reverting back to that mean. And yeah, you swept the low of this range. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing starts, you know, pushing back to the top of it around 320, 330 over the coming session. So we're watching this upside watch over here. Oracle. Bull. Nice green bullish engulfing candlestick. Now, I'm not saying they're just going to push this thing right away, okay? But there's a chance they're going to start this next impulsive move up. So I'm going to put it back on your radar over here. I put it on your radar when we got the wedge breakout. I think I might have put it on, you know, and the weekly update coming into the week. But either way, I know for a fact I did on one of these 2 days. We did get the wedge breakout. You consolidated here 3 sessions later, okay? And now it looks like it's starting to move. So, hey, this thing looks like it get explosive. I'm not sure if it's going to be the case, but if this thing happens to go, this monthly chart looks really explosive to me. And if we make it back up to these upper wicks, I think we're going to take it out. And I think we take out 1885. And I think this goes maybe even 25 plus, but 20 plus in the short term if we make it back up here. All right. And that can happen into end of month. I don't know. We have not too many days left in the month there. You see what I see. Okay. We will see what happens. Okay. If this thing puts the freaking jets on them, we'll see. Either way, into next month, we're watching this guy bull. Marvel, we talked about it the other day. Okay. I know I had the scary gap down today. I know, but it pushed right back up. You're expecting sellers. You got supplies in 81.12 to 85.76. Above 85.76, you got nothing until 92.88. I personally think you're probably going to be breaking through that, pulling back, All right, this is MU 2.0, guys. We just nailed MU. I unfortunately didn't ride the bad boy into all-time highs because I didn't think the thing was just going to keep skyrocketing like it did over here, but it did. All right. But yeah, right now we're kind of in this area right over here where we broke down from the range. We're now pushing up to the top of it, and we're going to keep looking for, buyers to keep, bringing you up here. And then eventually we're going to look for this mean reversion here on the weekly time frame. All right. And that's going to be Marvel, but very similar setup over there. We started talking about it the other day, and I will not be surprised to see something very similar happen over here, considering you just had the range break. Okay, to the downside, failed breakdown as of over here. And now we push to the top of it, and now it's looking like it wants to bust through it. So in the short term, I am thinking further upside is likely. Above 85.76, 90 can be your first, psych target right there, psychological level, and then 92.88, and then you have the 0.618 fib and 96.80. All right, that is Marvel. Carvana, guys, 385C. We're open the other day, and I'm pretty positive they're still open here. You got, not close to 385, but if they do end up popping you tomorrow, if we have not terrible numbers that come out tomorrow morning, PCE, all right, if they don't gap you down crazy over here, let's say you open here and then take out today's high, I think you're probably going to go 385 plus. I think you're going to go 390 plus because those guys got to make their money back. I'm not saying they can control the market over there. They took a bet. So far, the bet they did not go their way, but there's still hope for them. So I'm just pointing out Carvana over here does look like yeah, it's probably going to keep just trekking and grinding higher here on the weekly time frame. Would not be surprised to see this have an outsized move tomorrow. All right, just going to touch on CRWV here, guys, because I know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But at the end of the day, you had a freaking 10% pump over here. All right, well, you had a 7.5% pump followed by a 10% dump. Pretty insane stuff. Pretty insane. But at the end of the day, it is sitting right here. Okay, I'm just going to tell you guys, I took off my shorter dated calls today. All right, and then half of the 1017 calls. I'm just going to be adding more of the 1121 calls in this dip. Maybe we'll grab the December ones, but I'm just letting you guys know, if you're buying time on this name, if you are loading up on shares on this dip over here, I think you're going to be having a good time. If you're trying to, go balls to the walls and shorter dated options here, probably not going to have a good time, clearly. All right, the thing is very volatile. It has, these crazy moves on a day-to-day basis here. I think the thing's getting ready for a big pop. I don't want to miss it, okay? But I'm telling you, it might be spending a little bit more time here, and we might even, take out this low over here, 124.06 tomorrow. If PCE, is nice and cool there, all right, market gets a nice big bullish surprise there, okay? Maybe this thing gets an outsized gap up. If you gap up to today's high and then take out, or if you gap up near today's high, let's say 133, 134, take out today's high, 138.95. At this point, screw this candle right here. The thing's about to push 150 plus. And that's that. That's the little update I got for you guys over here. But I'm just going to say this looks butt ugly. It was looking beautiful. All right. But then they brought you right back down. So I'm honestly unsure of which way in the short term we're going to be going here. And I think we might put in another lower wick right over here, sweep in 124.06 tomorrow. Okay, but it's still a top watch for us over here. I just thought I'd give an update because I know over here. But hey, hopefully some of you guys took some things off into the highs here. You did get quite the move, quite the pump there off the open. You just gave it all back. Okay, but it's CRWV. We're still watching for a big outsized move there, but just realize like this is just breaking out. It's consolidating above where it broke out from. Big move is on the horizon. You just got to be patient on the name. Don't try pushing it. You can't control the market. Okay, you cannot control the market. Does not mean you're going to stop watching this name over here. I'm telling you, the deals they got coming in, guys, like it makes no sense the move that happened today. At least to me. It makes absolutely no sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But, I'm just saying, like, they have a backlog of $30 billion. They now have an OpenAI, partnership here. Okay, a deal that spans $22 billion. They just got the NVDA deal for $6.5 billion. They got another $6 billion something, today added to the OpenAI partnership, or agreement there. I'm just saying it doesn't really make sense. All right. So, use your own brain. You could do whatever you want, but I'm still saying nothing has changed here. And that's CRWV. INTC. We talked about it yesterday. I thought this weekly candle was probably going to be expanded above 32.38. You now got it. I'm just letting you know, guys, they're loading up October 38C. All right, 1017 38C, and we got the 10-3 35C loaded into the close there. Both are higher prices than the current price. I think you're going up 37. We talked about in yesterday's video. Above 32.38, you have nothing until 37 bucks. Above 32.38, you're talking 35 bucks. Psychological level there. And then above there, nothing until 37.16. Monster move over here. Monster. All right. These are our China names we've been talking about. We've been bringing PDD up over here. I'm watching it to start this bigger move over here, just like BIDU and BABA have done when they had similar, bases, and you're just getting really tight against the top of the base. This thing looks like a monster move is right there on the corner. So, it's the same thing I was just saying on CRWV. Guys, just because the stock is not going to be doing the action we're looking for right now does not mean we should write it off and just, take it off the watch list. That shouldn't be how things go, okay? Set your alert, wait for it to start moving, and you can play the volatility when it is there. But, you can see over here, guess what? This thing it's kind of looking very similar, except I'd argue this is crazy bullish over here. I think a massive move might be right around the corner over here, PDD. Now, I'm not sure when they're going to send this thing, but monthly chart says there is a big move probably right around the corner. Weekly and daily chart show this, tight consolidate. It's getting tight up here, all right? It's the apex of what you got going on over here, okay? And I think they're probably going to send it. So watch PDD. All right. Other China name to be paying attention to is JDD. Watch for it to just continue basing out over here at the top of the base. All right. Just building out structure. All right. And then above 3606, we have 3784. I think this also can get an outsized move. I like the weekly chart over here. Monthly doesn't look all too bad either. Okay. If you close the monthly candle and stick out like this, okay, they give you a dip next month, we're going to know that that is likely going to act as a buying opportunity before they take you over this high and take you over 38 bucks next month, okay? JD. VNet, guys, congrats if you played it. I'm pretty positive nobody traded it. I didn't even trade it, but as of today, guys, we talked about it literally just the other day on this day right there, okay, Tuesday's video. We said you got 3 sessions to make this thing work over here. You got 3 freaking sessions, 24% gain. Off of the breakout level, you have 3 sessions. What happens? 2 sessions later, you're up 23.5%. Boom, bop, bing, boop, pow.
It's easy.
Bada bing, bada boop. All right. Either way, guys, you had a beautiful setup over here. The last 3 times you had a similar setup, you did end up within 2 weeks. 2 weeks from that breakout, you had a 24.6% move. That was the minimum move. 25%, 33, 24.6. All right. And as of right now, we're just going to say, hey, all right, you done did it. You're not looking for any more upside over here. I personally think this is going to be on its way to all-time highs. All-time highs at 16. You do the math. Current price is 11.30. We were saying 11.40 is what we were looking for yesterday. We got 11.40. We got it. Okay. But yeah, you do your own math. $11.35 right there. You see it. 16 bucks up there. We know this other one, it went for quite a while after that 25% move. That's just right here. Guess what? You got a gap down the next week. Bang. 20% week the next week. Bang. Next week, another 20% week. Over here. Consolidate after this 20% move. Again, you get the gap down. And then bang. Okay. 25% week. Bang. Up at high, 16%, and you kept going. So I'm just letting you know, you had the breakout over here. You didn't keep going. You consolidated above the moving average here, and now you're moving and grooving. Now you probably are going to be moving up the highs. We're talking, give it 2 to 3 weeks. Highs, 16 bucks. Options should be cheap. You can do your own math. There you go. AMD, we're still watching it over here. We need to break above 171 ultimately, but I think it's shaping up very well. Okay. All right. And then the last one I have for you guys today is going to be over here on actually, I got one more for you today. But PLTR, guys, all right, you pulled back. You had quite a freaking move over here. Quite a move to start off the day. You did reject there, top of the range. Okay, but same concept we talked about, I think twice in this video now. The failed breakdown, once you get acceptance back into the range, typically you are going to be targeting the upper side of the range right away. That's just the immediate target. Well, that is what this guy is doing. All right, we talked about it on MU. We talked about it on Marvel. All right, we got another example, smaller time frame though, here on PLTR. I think either tomorrow or early next week, this thing can shoot up the highs. I think it's imminent, and I don't think it's going to need the market to be moving up the highs for it to happen. That's Palantir. Okay. Last one I have for you guys today is going to be Grab. You pulled back. We talked about the entry off of the 9 EMA here. We were looking for the test there, and you got it. And you found buyers today, and you had increasing volume. And it looks like it's probably about to head back up to the highs right away in the short term. Current price 625. It's 661 up at the highs. Okay, 662. Perfect projection the other day on Tuesday from our level. All right, and above 661, pushes $7 and then 764. Well, we've been talking about this name over here. And if you want to trade it, you keep getting these opportunities to do so. So it's up to you. All right, but heaviest volume ever recorded last week. Now you've reverted back to the mean on the daily time frame. It might be ready for the next leg up. Keep it on the radar. All right, and with that being said, guys, I will catch y'all in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please, if you did, just remember to leave a like. All right, let me know your thoughts on what's going on, down below. All right, but please just remember to leave a like. If you want to come trade with me, that link is down below. I'm live every day. And yeah, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.